So I've been talking about what drives gold prices lately. Instability. Ask yourself, who wants gold prices to increase? But if I were to say the main thing which drives gold prices up, it's government deficit spending. If a currency is being printed and spent without that currency being backed, there's no responsibility to how much is spent. Maybe that's a good thing for the community where a large government bureaucracy had their offices and people are directly benefiting from their pay and their benefits. That's great. That's great for the community. But where it hurts, when it's not in budget, where it hurts is when maybe tax revenues are off 20%, 40%. Hey, it's a bad year. It's a recession. The taxes that are coming in are off by 30, 40%. And so what happens is whatever's coming in is the budget. You know, that's not the case in business. Whatever's coming in, a certain percentage of it is the budget. The rest is to be profit. A lot of business owners do reinvest all of the money during a growth period. Maybe you're not always in a growth period. Maybe you're only in a growth period 1 year out of 4. There would be a saving period, a stable period. Now, the government's offices might consider that, because what if the government had a budget, let's say tax revenues that were coming into a particular government bureaucracy came to X amount of money, and they said, well, you know, a business should have some kind of a profit if they're running at optimum efficiency. Maybe we should treat our budget the same way. We have X amount of money coming in. 70% of the amount of money coming in is our budget. Let's just say that they were to do that. What would be fantastic about that is then a recession would come, a depression would come. All of a sudden, tax revenues are down 30%. Now, the one thing that a government bureaucracy does not want to do to itself is gut itself, make cuts, lay people off, fire people, close down departments, close down buildings. Of course, they don't want to have to do that. No business would want to do that. So maybe this should be considered, running on a 70% rather than 100% of the revenue that's coming in. Provides a safety barrier. 30% is a safety barrier for if a recession comes, depression comes, an agency, a bureaucracy, a department doesn't have to get gutted, doesn't have to lay people off and provide stresses to their families. People rely on the stability of a government job. Let's face it, the best of the best should consider working for the government, because our government needs the best of the best. Why I bring up this 70% budget theory. I believe that it could be a way to provide stability to the US dollar. As patriots, we should want stability to the dollar. The reason people are so faithful that the price of gold is going to continue going up is really what we've seen the government do for the last 10, 20 years, not just any one administration. It's the progressive politics. The word progressive tends to imply with growth. When you see progressive Democrat, progressive Republican, this might be somebody who wants to grow the government for what they believe is the good of the people they're campaigning, or the good of their successful politics career. Well, that's fine and dandy for them, but we're running at a deficit. Imagine that I were the head of some type of a government bureaucracy. If I were to take 100% of what I have coming into me, hey, we're going to make our budget 70% of what's coming into us, rather than 100%, and perhaps even try to outspend the budget that's coming into me. That's what I would try to do. Then when a recession comes along, when a depression comes along, I've got this protective barrier for my department, and I'm going to be the last department to look like we weren't prepared, we weren't able to handle ourselves, we collapsed under pressure. We wouldn't look like that. We would hold out just fine. But more importantly, I understand that there's a deeper problem. I'd like to do the government good. I hope my ideas could do some good for the government. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but if it does, that's great. That's why I take the time to mention some of my ideas. If the government department only spent 70% of the 100% that was allotted to them, maybe the higher-ups, maybe they would say, okay, well, hey, this is a place where we can make cuts. They're only spending 70% of this budget. Instead of cuts, there should be some type of a reward for running well under budget. I think that's more the progressiveness that needs to occur, not punishing a department for running under budget by giving them cuts. What you should do is make a reward system for the departments that run under budget. There's going to be departments who have this mentality. The more I can spend over budget, the better my argument for a bigger budget. You see this all the time. I see it all the time in tobacco. All of a sudden there's a study done by the college. An anti-smoking campaign is all over it.